Hi, and welcome to the Latina Moms Building Wealth interview series. Today, I'm super excited for my guest, Elizabeth Banerjee. And Elizabeth is the founder. Hi, Elizabeth. Elizabeth is the founder of Makeup Galore. Ladies, I know we all love makeup and we all need it at some point. So, Elizabeth, welcome. I'm super excited to have you today. Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Thank you so much, first of all, for having me today. I'm super excited to be here. My name is Elizabeth Banerjee, as you mentioned, Mexicana, born in Mexico, came here when I was 8. And you know what? I started this company when it was in the middle of COVID, 2020. And it was thanks to my little niece, who was like, Tia, can you help me start a business? I'm like, sure. And I always wanted to be a business owner. So I was like, you know what? I'll help you, but I want to be your partner. And so it kind of helped me, gave me that boost, right? Because we're always sometimes scared to do stuff on our own. So I figured I'm doing it for her. Turned out, you know, how business is, money doesn't come flowing right away. So she wasn't seeing, I guess, what she expected. And later she went to college, so I bought her out, but I decided to keep the company because I saw the impact that it has on women, the confidence boosting, right? Like when I first got the makeup packets, and I have 3 girls. So when they would see that makeup, their eyes would light up, and it was just amazing. I'm like, wow, I want to keep doing this for women. So we're not just a makeup company. We want to help women bring out their self-confidence through makeup. And so we pride ourselves with offering carefully curated makeup, with trendy names for those that love the Latino culture. And
What are some of the names, Elizabeth? Tell us.
so we have Bonita. I know you
Okay.
can't see it, but
Yeah.
Bonita.
Hmm.
We have a Selena one as well.
I love Selena.
We have some lip glosses. We have a Cabrona palette. That's one of our popular ones. We have a Mamacita palette as well.
Oh, nice.
And Mi Corazon.
I love that giving the Spanish names. I think it's so important in our business when you especially for like your branding, when we can identify, right, with the bright colors and the names, there's this feeling of connection.
It is, you know what, and when I started doing vendor events and they saw something that was unique, because you may find one or two of these palettes when you're shopping at the store, but you're not going to find all of them in one place.
Mhm.
And so when they started seeing, they thought it was so unique, they actually thought it was my own brand. And so I started thinking, you know what? Why don't I start something under my own name? So I decided to go with something, um, not huge investment. So I started lip glosses, vegan lip glosses. So that's something that is our brand.
Nice.
But we will continue. We're doing the lashes as well, and hopefully move on to more. But I want to make sure that when you think of Makeup Galore, you think of a place where you can get um, something with our culture, that um, targets the Latino community and those who love the Latino culture.
Yeah, I know off camera we were talking about this, but so many times when we think of building wealth, people think of the formula, the budgets, the investment accounts, but so many times we fail to realize the importance of the makeup, right? Of the boost, the energy that you feel like when you look in the mirror, or when someone says, "Wow," like I know when I put eyeliner, people are like, "Wow, your eyes are beautiful," right? And so I know that, certain makeup, certain things enhances certain features. And so when a woman wears makeup and she walks into a room and she feels like, hey, my imperfections were hidden. Hey, I'm walking in here with confidence. she can approach people so much easier, right? Like she feels noticed, she feels wanted, she feels desired. And so that also helps with, taking that step. You said just that fear factor, right? Like maybe walking into a networking room or a room with strangers or a room in when it's predominantly males or, something like that. So what are your thoughts on that? On what does it bring out in a woman?
It definitely makes a huge difference, Michelle. I will tell you that, especially during COVID, right? Like everybody was working from home. Nobody felt like they needed to do their makeup, or we were like all struggling with like maybe mental health, right? Like feeling horrible. But like as we started going out and doing our hair and having meetings and putting a little makeup, it's not like we're saying we're not beautiful, right? We are beautiful. Everyone has, their unique beauty, but once you add a little lipstick, a little gloss, some mascara, we can take over the world. We're feeling poderosas. We can walk into the room and, start walking in confidence, and confidence. Um, you can see confidence, you can smell confidence, and that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it does, especially like I know that I'll notice people like walk into a room and I'll see women like looking down or like, you can read the nonverbals, right? Of like that confidence, but you can tell when a woman is like her lashes are made and her lip and she walks through that door like she owns it, right? It just gives it a different feeling and people love confidence. Confidence attracts. You couldn't be the not the most feel the most beautiful woman, right? Like we all have our beauty in some way, shape, or form. But when you feel that boost, when you feel super confident, like you could, like you said, you could just simply take over the world.
Yeah, just give me some red lipstick and some heels and I'll take over the world.
So what are some I know, we talked about some of the feelings that women feel when they wear makeup. But any women in particular that you can remember or that comes to mind that you're like, man, when she wore the palette or when she bought this, like I could just see the difference. I could tell the difference in her.
You know what? I will say my daughter. She's the one that inspired to keep the business. My oldest, who will be going away to college, but she was struggling with her mental health, not feeling beautiful, being bullied. And, like as I started getting the makeup orders, and she's like, oh, let me try on some lashes. Let me try this lipstick. Let me do my eyebrows. And, like she saw how beautiful she is, right? Yeah, she needed a little boost. She needed a little help, but um, it made a difference. And I'm like, wow, I need to continue this. And we all deserve to feel beautiful and like we're able to take over the world, right?
Yeah, and I think you're right, like, something as simple like, I'm not big on, like, makeup, like, and off camera, I think we were having this conversation of, like, after I had my daughter, you get sometimes those manchas, right, in the face, and, in the beginning, I was like, "Oh my" I don't think I noticed it, and until my sister was like, "Oh my god, you're doing all these lives, and you're going live, and you can see it," and I'm like, "Okay," I'm like, I haven't found that makeup that but some of us have these imperfections, right? Some of us are okay with I'm one of those women that I think I'm overly confident that I'm okay with my imperfections, but I know that there's some women that are not, right? And so maybe having the little manchita in the face, they won't go live or they won't want to go out or they'll just feel uncomfortable or not confident or things like that. But I think what makeup does is it also covers our imperfections, right? It covers our imperfections where we don't feel less than or less confident. So I think it's super important for us to talk about that when you're walking into an interview, right? Or you're walking into, like I said, into a conference or a networking event. Like you said, your daughter's beautiful. She has beautiful lashes, but just hey, that a little mascara that gives it a little bit more, that
Yes.
little lipstick that makes those lips give it a little bit more, make them a little juicier looking that makes a big difference, and I think sometimes we fail to see who's looking at us. Right? Like, I know that there's times that I'm like, quickly, the mascara, lipstick, and whatever I have time to do. But I see my daughter, and we joked around because she was on her way to school and she looked like Chupitos. I don't know if you know who Chupitos are,
Yes.
but she had this red lipstick and she was like, Mom, I'm so beautiful, And I don't know where she got that from, but like I know that like as women, like there's women behind us, our daughters, our nieces, our neighbors, girls that we mentor, right? That we don't, because I'm like, I don't do my makeup that much for her to want to wear all this, red lipstick and stuff, right? But that little bit, they get inspired and motivated as well. And it brings out creativity for some women, right?
Do. They do. We are, like our own canvas, and some women are very creative and we can enhance certain features, hide others. So definitely very important to touch in that. But overall, like I said, we think they're not looking. Somebody's always looking.
Mhm.
And I remember when I was growing up, my mother, right? When I was 3 or 4, she would give me her broken lipsticks, her broken palettes, and I would just be so fascinated and, like I would think I'm beautiful, right? Like, because I saw her with her makeup and she has beautiful green eyes, unfortunately I don't, but but I just felt, that if I wore that I would be beautiful like her. And so we try to be like our mom, wearing the heels and the lipstick because there are role models.
Right,
So
right.
yes, we have to be careful about everything we do, everything that we say, because even when we think they're not here, they're not looking, they're always looking, listening.
Yeah, and even in marriages, I remember not too long ago actually, I did my makeup and I don't really wear too much makeup, but I did it for whatever reason. I think we were going out somewhere. And my husband's like, babe, why don't you wear that like all the time? Like why is it just like on this special occasion? And I think sometimes as women, we get so comfortable on our day to day and our routine, whether it's going to work or whether it's in your marriage, right? And sometimes it's like, hey, we need to do it for ourselves.
Yes, we do. And like I did that sometimes, especially during the COVID, and I got to work from home, not wearing makeup, didn't have meetings, and all of a sudden I go back to work, take my time and do my makeup. And my husband's like, well, you never do that when you go out with me.
Right. And sometimes when you're working, right, like the perception, right? Like if you're an employee, your employer wants to send a woman that represents the company
Yeah.
that's going to look good, not that's going to look sloppy, not that's going to look like she just woke up, not like so that perception of what people think or what your employers think, or hey, do you want to like I did some like webinars and podcasting for my agency, and I was always on camera. Like I couldn't be looking sloppy, right? So like I think sometimes we fail to see that sometimes we're skipped and we're not looked at for certain opportunities because we're a representation of the company or of your team or of whatever, and we don't think about those things.
We definitely don't. We overlook it. Especially now, we start thinking with the diversity and inclusion. Oh, well, they they should look at me because I'm Latina or whatnot. But are we up to part? Are we keeping up with how we look? Image is very important for some fields. Like I work in the financial industry. I remember when I was client facing, there's certain things that you had to wear and uniform or not. But now I'm on the corporate, I have my little cubicle, so it's more lenient. But still, like I have to go downtown, so I can't go out in sweatpants and, gym shoes for
Right.
sure.
Right, right. So I think that there's a lot of factors that, when people think of makeup, they just think of beauty, right? But they don't think of building wealth. They don't think of that confidence. They don't think of the missed opportunities. They don't think of the perception or the representation that we're, because I know that there's times like when I'm in a meeting and I see another Latina and she looks a hot mess and I'm like, oh my God, she did not walk in looking like that because it's a perception and it makes us look bad. right? Like I think I don't want other people to think that I'm sloppy or that other people are sloppy. So I think that, we open the doors for other women to come.
We do, and I think sometimes though, I feel like it is our duty to kinda take somebody under our wing because we've learned things, we've experienced things, but they might not have. And they might be surrounded by people who maybe they don't have anybody to look up to, that, enforces the image or whatnot. And so sometimes I think it is our duty, um, to let them know, like, hey, can I do your makeup, or let's go get our hair done, let's go do our nails, because I don't think that we do that enough. And as Latinas, we definitely should, we can do more, working together.
Yeah, absolutely. So my daughter loves makeup, and I think I wear it more before her because she loves it. But maybe consider doing a mommy and me line, Elizabeth. That might be a little niche there for
Yeah.
like those tea parties that the mom and daughters have or something like that. That would be cute. I've always wanted to do like a little spa, like a mommy and me spa, because my daughter, when I get my nails done, mommy, can I get my nails done too? Right? Like and it's a bonding, right? And I do take my daughter when I get my pedicures and my nails because I want her to learn self-care. Like, they charge me 10 bucks for it, right? Like, so for me, it's like, I want her to learn it's okay to take care of yourself. You should be taking care of yourself. So when I go, she comes with me and I get some stares from people. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I know what I want my daughter to feel balanced. I want her to feel mentally stable because I know there's some women that, like, I actually once had a client that when we were talking about budgets, her husband was like, we and I said, "Okay, let's look at the budget. Where are some areas that we can cut back?" And, I'm like, "Do we really need to go to the salon and get our nails and hair done, like, every other week or something?" And he was like, "This is important for her. This is important for her mental health, and this will stay in the budget." And as a coach, I'm a believer in telling people to keep things that they value. So I was like, okay, this is something that this couple values, that for her mental health, for her sanity, and for her to feel beautiful, that will stay, and it stayed in the budget. So we managed. I like for people to not feel restrictive, like, oh my God, Coach Michelle's telling me to take everything off. No, no. I want us to remove things that we don't value. And in this case, they valued that. And I was so shocked, but at the same time, I was like, that's pretty awesome. Like, it actually came from the husband. Because she was like, "Well, I guess I can go every other week." And he was like, "No, that's something that's important to you. That's something that we value." And I was like, "Wow, that's," and it was actually really nice to see that her husband stood up and was like, "No, this is something that's gonna stay," right? Like, and so as women, we gotta teach our daughters and the women, like, hey, self-care is important, taking care of ourselves. And, especially during COVID, so many of us had some mental health concerns and things that we experienced. I had just had a baby, right? Running around from camera, teaching my kids and having it was just a lot, and then popping onto Zoom with my colleagues and them being like, "Oh my god, she's a mess with these kids at home," you know? So it was so important to be able to do that. So thank you for doing that, Elizabeth. And, so many Latina women have started businesses, which I think is pretty awesome. But I wanna know, which one is your favorite?
My palette,
Yes, which palette is your favorite?
I ran out. I don't have it with me, but I use the Patrona, because it has a lot of the neutrals,
Oh, I
you know,
love that.
I every day. And there's another one, I can't say the last, but it's
Yeah.
B, Boss B, that also has some neutrals and pinks there, that you can use every day. But the Bonita actually I use for like the quince. I recently did my niece's makeup for her quince, so it has a lot of glitter, and bright colors that you can do for parties there. So I
Nice. Okay, good. So we're gonna have to get that. So, ladies, for those of you that are listening, and even if there's men listening out there, make sure that you reach to Elizabeth at Makeup Galore for the next birthday, for the next anniversary. We have some girls that are going away to college. Make sure that they are hooked up so they feel confident walking on their first day of class, day one. So, Elizabeth, any final words that you want to say before we wrap up today's charla?
just always think, never forget, dream big, and continue your self-care. Be confident, right? The rest will come.
That's true. So true. So, Elizabeth, if somebody wants to get La Patrona, Bonita, or any of your other palettes or lip glosses, you said you had some vegan lip glosses as well, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Where could they find your makeup?
So you can go to makeupgalore.com, or you can follow us on Facebook, Makeup Galore. We're on Instagram, Makeup Galore Online. You can send me a direct message and we can meet up if you're close by and you don't want to wait for shipping. We can definitely meet up.
Thank you. Well, Elizabeth, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to connect and to share with the women all about what makeup can do for them, right? And I really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. And so I'll make sure that when we post the interview, that we put your information for anyone who would like to connect or would like some makeup.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Awesome. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye.